Hi everybody. I'm super excited to be here tonight talking to you and hopefully passing on some useful tidbits. My name's Jennifer Neufeld. I am a Premier Level 5 leader in the Cutler Crew. I live in Penticton, BC, Canada. And I've been at this business just over 2 years now. So I launched when we launched Canada. So February 2nd was our 2-year root anniversary. So yeah, I'm still sort of new and I'm still learning, just like all of you. You might hear some Caillou in the background. This is Monday. This is typically my day out of the office. I just picked up my oldest, my 5-year-old from preschool, and she's got the iPad and she's doing some Caillou puzzles on it, and it's just kind of how we roll. It's how we fit this business in. And then I have to rush home here quick when I finish this to get home to my other 2 babies, my 2-year-old, my 3-year-old. So Lisa has asked me to talk a bit about some of the takeaways and some of the training that I got on a leadership retreat that I was just on in Mexico a couple weeks ago. The Guesses, if you don't know who the Guesses are, Elizabeth and Taylor Guess are in our upline. They're a couple above Lisa Cutler, and they are amazing. They're rock stars in this business. In life, they're just such a wonderful couple. They are RFX Circle, like Lisa. They have hit the $5 million circle, which isn't really a thing anymore, but like they're amazing at this. And they put on this retreat for level 5 leaders and above. You had to hit certain qualifications prior to Christmas. And there were almost 60 of us. Almost all of them were from the USA. There was 2 other Canadians. There was others who qualified, they just couldn't make the trip. And so we just all came together to collaborate and to learn and to share stories and trials and tribulations in the business and just in life. And it was honestly one of the best trips I've ever been on and some of the best training I've ever received. So yeah, it's taken me a long time to like really come up with some concrete things that I want to share because there's so many takeaways. But the 3 that really stuck with me and I've honestly thought about every single day since that trip is mindset. We actually had to read a book on that. I've got it here. It's this lady named Carol Dweck. She's got a PhD from Stanford, and honestly this was a huge game changer for me, for Dan & Fields, for life. Just so many great ways to think about things. That's really been useful in almost every day for me. And so I'm going to shed some light on that. We actually, we had to read this before we went on the trip, and then we had a whole training session just based on this. And then the second thing is also being honest and vulnerable about what it takes in this business to be successful and to grow and to become a leader and to grow your own team, and then also pushing people to set bigger goals and not being afraid to do that. I think sometimes we're so afraid to seem pushy, but we also want to see people become their best and do their best, and that's something that I wasn't great at in the beginning, and I'm trying to be better at that, is to push people outside of their comfort zones. Okay, so back to mindset. So this book, if you have not read this, you need to order this and you need to read this. So Elizabeth Guess put together this little blurb, and I'm going to read it to you, and I can type it up and post it in the comments below. So she said, and this is kind of her take on this book and what she took away from it. Successful people have the ability to continue to put forth an income-producing activity when the results at times do not show. They have the ability to work in less than perfect conditions when there are hurt feelings and attitudes of entitlement or disrespect. They can discipline their disappointments when they face rejection, which we do in this business. Their belief in the brand propels them forward and allows them to continue to put in the consistent work. They are able to authentically champion other successes and persevere when the going gets tough. They have resilience and a growth mindset. Successful people are gritty and hopefully humble. So this book talked a lot about fixed mindset versus growth mindset. And here are another couple examples. So this is from the author that wrote the book. She talks about the power of our mindset or our beliefs, especially around challenges, whatever those might be. We can either have a fixed mindset where we let failure or even success define who we are, or a growth mindset where we see setbacks as opportunities to grow and improve ourselves. Just like how we learn to walk. There are many stumbles along the way, but to reach our potential and live the life we desire, it takes practice and perseverance. We always have a choice about which view we adopt for ourselves, and it's never too late to change. What is your view? Are you a fixed mindset or are you a growth mindset type person? So here's a couple more specific examples. So desire. A fixed mindset would say, I want to look smart in every single situation, and I'm not going to put myself out there because I don't want to look silly, or I don't want other people to see that I maybe failed at something or didn't achieve my goals. A growth mindset would say, I want to stretch myself and take risks and learn. Bring on those challenges. Okay, here's another example. Evaluation of situations. A fixed mindset will say, will I succeed or fail? So either black or white. Will I look smart or dumb? A growth mindset will say, will this allow me to grow? Will this help me to overcome some of my challenges and to learn something or to acquire some new skills? So I see this all the time in our business. I see so many people come in and, you know, at the beginning, we're asking you to do some things that are way outside of your comfort zone. And for us too, we've all been there. You know, we're asking you to do scary things, like to reach out to people and tell them what you're up to. And, you know, when we come into this business, very few of us are good at this. Not many of us have a sales background or come by some of the skills in this business that are necessary to become successful naturally. And so like anything, we have to learn those skills. We have to practice those skills, just like any job or just like anything in life. But the more you do it, sorry, I might just have to take this call really quick. Hello? Okay, I can do that. Well, okay, yeah. I'll talk to you after. I'm actually on another call. It's okay. Bye.
Who was
Sorry. Cherry, you want to say hi? Hi.
Hello.
This is Channing. Say hi, everybody.
Hello, everybody.
Okay. I'll be a few more minutes. Okay, sweetie? Okay, sorry. Where was I? Oh, yeah. Like anything, the more you do and the more you practice, the better you get and the more confidence you get, okay? So the more you reach out to people, you get more confident and it becomes easier and easier. And handling those objections and, you know, getting those no's aren't as personal, and, you know, you don't worry about them as much. You know, rather than worrying about them for days, you have a 2-minute pity party, and then you move on, okay? So that is a growth mindset. Not worrying so much about the outcome or the success, but rather the process and the journey and what you're gonna get out of that. Here's another example. I've seen some people, you know, where either myself or other leaders will run some incentives and challenges, and some people are like, well, if I'm not guaranteed to win it, I'm not going to put in the effort, or I don't know if it's worth it. Well, any effort into growing your business is worth it in my mind. Whether or not you win the prize or you win the trip or whatever it is, pushing yourself to become better is never a bad thing. So that would be growth mindset, is looking at this as, even if I don't win this challenge, if I put in some effort, that's going to be beneficial to my business and to me as a person, and just growing and learning something. Yeah, okay, I'm rambling. I'm going to get back to my notes here one sec. Okay, mindset. I'm going to share a couple mini stories of situations in my life that could have really derailed me, and had I had a fixed mindset, I could have, you know, been in a totally different position now. I probably wouldn't be a dentist, I wouldn't be married to my husband, I wouldn't have the children I have, just based on little things that have happened. Okay, I'm gonna try to make this quick. So, I've always done well at school and well at sports, and I'm not sharing these stories to brag, just bear with me. So I was not the valedictorian when I graduated high school, but I was very close to being it. I went into my first year of university, you know, having done really well in high school, and you know, you come into this new situation, and you know, I just thought I was going to continue to do really well in all my classes and whatnot. I played on the university women's basketball team. That's a whole other story. Anyways, my first biology class, I was like, oh, I'm gonna rock this first test. You know, it was like a month or so into the semester, and you know, I just thought I could put in my usual night of studying and do well. Well, you know, we got those exams back a week or so later, and I didn't fail, but for me, it was like pretty close to failing. It was the first time I'd ever experienced. No, those are green. I think that would probably be like lime flavored or green apple flavored.
What did they say?
Sweetie, I'm recording a video, honey bunny. Okay, I'm almost done. Try and read it. Sound it out. What does it say?
Yeah?
Yeah, I think so. I think so. Yeah. Blah. This is what happens. Okay. Yeah. Okay. I didn't feel it, but for me, it was like the worst mark I've ever gotten. It was like a 76 or something, and I remember the teacher explaining what a scale was for the first time, and how it was a class of like 200 people, and he said, I know some of you are probably disappointed. I was like literally trying not to cry in the middle of this class. He said, I know some of you are disappointed. He said, there's 2 more exams. They're worth this and this. There's still lots of time to improve yourself, and don't be too hard on yourself, because he knew this was like the first university class, the first exam for most of us. So, and he also said there's only going to be 3 people in this entire room that are going to get A's in this class, and he said, are you going to be one of them? Now, I honestly thought for almost a week that I was going to drop this class, because I just didn't think I could recover from that grade, and I didn't, and I knew this was a really important course for me to get into dentistry, and I knew that I wanted to do dentistry, and I had to have a really good grade. So I thought about dropping the class and waiting till next semester to retake it to make sure I got a better grade in my first exam. And something somewhere along the line twigged with me, and I'm like, you know what? I've got 2 more exams. They're worth this percentage. I need to get these marks. I'm gonna get one of those A's. And you know what? I worked my A off for the rest of the semester, and I got one of those A's. So that's an example of a growth mindset versus a fixed mindset. And then another example I'm gonna give you, and I'm sharing these not, again, it's not to brag, but it's because goes kind of back to that second point of being honest and vulnerable about what it takes. I think some people see, you know, our highlight reel on Facebook, and they think, oh, everything's always like sunshine and rainbows and unicorns, and that's not always the case. I think some people think, oh, like she has it so easy, or oh, everything's come so naturally, and that's not true. You know, I am myself, like a lot of other leaders, we're pretty intentional about what we put out there. You know, my life is a shit show half the time, and a gong show behind the scenes, but I am very intentional and choose what I put out there. And sometimes I think that's a bit of a fault behind the scenes with my team in particular at Member Dan Fields business. And I want them to know that I have some of the same struggles that they all have. And, you know, I don't have all my ducks in a row. You know, it's messy a lot of the time, and yeah, anyways, I'm rambling. So the other thing that happened to me that could have completely changed my path in life is, so to get into dentistry, you need a certain GPA. You have to write an admission test, and then based on those 2 things you get an interview, and then it's based on those 3 things whether or not you get in or not. So it's sort of a similar situation to that biology exam. I wrote my admission test, and there's you carve soap. That's one of the little parts of it. Sounds ridiculous. It's like this tube of soap, and there's very specific measurements that you have to like carve into it. And then there's a perceptual ability, there's a reading comprehension, and then there's like a science part and a bunch of other parts. I did really well on all the areas. The soap carving, like, I practiced a few times, I'll be good. Nope, I failed that. So it's out of a score of 30, every section's out of a score of 30, I think I got like 14. Okay, so if you don't pass any of the sections, you don't get to submit that to the dental schools. And so here again, it's like my dream to become a dentist. It's like, this is what I'm doing, and I failed this. Okay, this test is only offered a couple times a year. So again, I was like pity party for days, if not weeks or months. And honestly, I started looking at other life options. I looked into pharmacy. I applied to pharmacy school. I got into pharmacy school. I literally thought, okay, this is it. I'm not meant to be a dentist. I'm going to do something else. And again, I just said, like, gah! After I realized that these other things were just my backup plan, not really what I wanted to do, I told myself, you're gonna get back on that horse. You're gonna order a soap carving kit, which I did, and I practiced for weeks, if not months. And then the second time I wrote that test, I think I got 28 out of 30, one of the highest scores in Canada. Okay, so growth mindset. I have to work at things just like other people, and this business takes work. It didn't come easy to me. It didn't come naturally to me. It was really scary to me. You know, I worried a lot about what people would think. Here's an example of something that could have completely derailed me in my Rodan & Fields business. Within my first few months, a couple years ago, my mom is one of the least supportive people in regards to Rodan & Fields in my life. In fact, it makes it really difficult sometimes. So at one point she said to me in person, what are you doing? Why are you bothering selling skincare? What do you think people think of you selling skincare? You're a dentist. My own mother, you know, the person that's supposed to be like your biggest supporter. And in other ways, it sounds really awful. She's not an awful person. She loves me. She shows it in weird ways sometimes. She loves our kids an awful lot, and you know, she moved out here to help us with them for almost 9 months, but in regards to Rodan & Fields, she doesn't get it, and she's never cared to get it. She's never cared to understand it, and you're gonna have people like that in your life. And you can either let that derail you and stall you and paralyze you, or you can use it to fuel you and to make you work that much harder to prove those people wrong. And not that you want that to be your end all and be all. You don't want that to be your driving force, because it's kind of a negative thing, but don't let those no's or those people that don't get it and don't support you affect you, or affect you for too long, because it will. You know, after she said that to me, there was probably weeks, if not a couple months, where I barely did anything. I barely did any income producing activity. Yeah. And there came a day where I'm like, you know what, I don't care what she thinks, I can't worry about that, I have to push those thoughts out of my head. So yeah, that was something major that could have derailed me had I let it. Okay, back on track, my notes. What was the third thing, Chan, we're going to talk about? Pushing people to set bigger goals. Okay, and being honest and vulnerable about what it takes, that kind of goes hand in hand. Okay, yeah. When I first started, and I realize now that I almost feel like it was a fault or that I let people down. I didn't do it on purpose because I didn't really honestly know initially, and so now I'm trying to be more honest with people about what it takes. I used to have a really bad habit of saying, this is so fun, and you can fit this in the nooks and crannies of your life. And that's true, and I mean, it is fun. It is fun, but it is also work. And you can fit it into the nooks and crannies of your life, but if you want it to be more than a hobby, it has to be more than nooks and crannies. You have to actually plan out some set work hours and work more than just a few minutes here, a few minutes there. And so that is one thing that I am trying to be more truthful and honest with people about what it takes to really grow this as a business. Hitting EC and for this to be a hobby and for this to be a little bit of extra money, that's awesome. And if that's all you want from this, that is awesome. And we're here to support you if that's what you want. If you want to grow this as a business, it takes a lot more than that. And that's something that I took away, and that's what some of the RFX leaders from the trip said, is to really be clear up front about, okay, if this is what you want, this is what it takes. If this is what you want, this is what it takes. So yeah. Mindset. Do you have a fixed versus growth mindset? I love copycat behind me. Being honest and vulnerable with your team and struggles that you're struggling with. I'm going to try and be better with that with my team behind the scenes. I'm not going to blast that out to my public Facebook because you want to be putting a certain brand out there, right? You want people to be seeing a certain, you know, what's the word I'm looking for? Brand. Yeah, I'm pushing people to set their goals, okay? I've rambled on long enough. I hope there was something useful in that ramble. So we're gonna go now. Have a good night. Say bye, Chan.
Bye-bye,
Bye-bye.
everyone.
Bye-bye, everyone.